everybody. Today on International Women's Day, we have a very special woman with us who is Captain Farah Khan Pethe. Tell us something about being a little girl to a commercial airline pilot.
My journey, from my upbringing, I've been born and brought up, in a Muslim family, which were strong believers of education, modernism, cultural ethic values, imbibed and ingrained in us with the high levels of discipline at the same time. My parents were truly and are truly my role models. The way I've seen them, do the upbringing for us is truly remarkable. There was no discrimination, first of all, to begin with, between our sisters and our brother. It was all together. So watching that, I never knew what religion bias is all about till I stepped out of the house and started getting used to these factors, which actually sometimes play a big role in anyone's life. Becoming an airline pilot, or to begin the journey to become a pilot itself, was a big challenge for me because it was my dad's dream. So I've written this book as we speak, this is Conquering the Blue Skies, my journey to becoming a pilot. I've written this book because I want people, especially to women, to know that there's no stopping if you make up your mind. And if you are a true believer in yourself, you can overcome any obstacle in any hurdle in your life and achieve whatever you want. But you need to have that self-belief system along with that support of your family. I wanted to become an electronic engineer. I was preparing for prelims, 12th. We had prelims at that time. I was preparing for the exams. I still remember I was sitting on the floor with all the books surrounding me. And very seriously, I was totally engrossed in the subject. When dad just comes casually, he's standing there. I realized, he wanted my attention. The moment I looked up, he said, one of my dad's friend's son had come down from the flying school and it was their midterm. So he said, David is come down from the flying school and he was wondering whether Farah would be interested. So I looked at him. He was wondering whether I would be interested. He says, no, actually, I want to know whether you would be interested in becoming a pilot. All I asked him, Smita, was, Dad, do you want me to become a pilot? He said, yes. And looking at the expression on his face was, oh my God, he was full of smile. I didn't know whether I should say yes or no. I just looked at him, I didn't even blink, and I said yes. And that changed everything. Eventually, fast forward, when I started my journey in the flying school, I had a lot of hiccups and I was stumbling a lot because that was not my subject. It was not something what I wanted to do. It was electronic engineering, and aviation is a totally different and a very unconventional field, Smita. It needs understanding of the subjects which are way apart from what we usually know, We know physics, chemistry, maths, biology, civics, and all. Like, these are the normal terms what we are used to. Aviation, it had aviation meteorology, air navigation, radio telephony. There are different phraseologies, those specific phraseologies. Like, you can just have a conversation. You have to use those terms and phraseologies to talk to other pilots or to the air traffic controller. Air regulations, you need to know everything about rules of the air. So you need to dig in that huge books. Then there is everything about the engines, about the parts of the aircraft. So it's enormous. It's enormous. The subject is like ginormous, I would say. And after seeing all that, I literally remember, Smita, when I was walking in the classroom with all this huge bundle of book, I'm walking up and I'm like, should I just call him dad and say, I didn't expect this. I was expecting to sit in the aircraft and we drive. We just go through one page list. That's it. I was expecting something similar, seriously, because I didn't find out anything about flying. I just went there. I was expecting that they would just tell me one page, this is the way you fly an aircraft. You sit inside and the instructors will teach you. I was like, literally the words and the letters from the book, they started, literally coming out of the book and surrounding me. It was, I can't explain the feeling I was going through. Was it excitement? It was excitement in the beginning. It's a beautiful field. But I didn't know what further challenges you're going to face in it, because it was fear of the unknown rather. And I went and sat there on the desk thinking, should I just call up my dad? Should I tell him, I don't know what I've done, but I think I'm sorry about it. And I said, hold on, give me some time to settle down. Let me see what it is about and all. And the struggle continued. It didn't end there. It was not like, okay, I spoke to myself saying that I think I can manage. Let me see where it takes me. Going through that stuff every single day, reading something which you are unaware of, which is complete Greek to you. Everything in the book we are unaware of. Every topic is different. It's unlike what you should know, what you are, used to. It was such a big challenge that rather than, giving me comfort as days passed by in the flying scoot, it started giving me more challenges, and I started stumbling more. I started having episodes where I used to sit in the room and I used to cry, wondering that, what have I done? Though I just had to speak to my dad and tell him, because they were quite understanding parents, and he would have worked out some solution. The turning point in my life was I was crying, sitting alone in the room when my friends had gone out. And that day I decided, it's easy to give up. It's very easy to give up and say you can't do it. But it takes, and I love challenges, from school days and all, whatever was put before me, I never said no. Whether it was dance competition, crafts, drawing, sports, elocution, everything I've tried, tested and tried. So this was me there with the same concept. I've never given up before giving it a try. I said, okay, I'm going to put in my best. Let me see where it takes me. Let me stumble n number of times. Let me fail at it. At least I know I put in my 100%. And then I can proudly tell to my dad that this I've tried, I've really tried. And that was the genesis of the new me, that it changed complete perspective in my life of looking at things. I started developing interest. I started reading a lot of books. We didn't have electronic media available to us, Smita. So it was books and libraries. I started going to libraries. I used to literally, when people I enjoyed, I used to spend time reading materials, understanding the life of a pilot, what things you go through, how to balance yourself with it. This journey, it took me to the point where I started, looking at things from a point of angle where I thought it gave me more grip on my life rather than loosen it. And it continued from that day, Smita, from the day I decided this till today. That feeling remains of joy, of pride, and of, I won't say sacrifice, I would say of belief, self-belief system, that gave me an awareness of how much important your self-belief system should be. Only then you can move ahead in your life. So that's me going as a child, as a girl, to becoming a pilot. And oh my God, mom and dad were the proudest parents on the surface of earth. And the way he used to speak, my dad is no more. I lost him almost 11 years back. But the way he spoke was amazing. And then I felt, this is the least you can do for your parents is, if you can go ahead with what the dreams are and flourish in them, I think that's the least we can do. And that taught me another chapter.
Farah, hats off to your father in 1998 to think
yes,
his girl child can become a pilot. Okay.
Absolutely. That was another awakening in me, knowing that your parents, where there are still, the dichotomy still continues. That time, parents are supporting you. It was a very big thing, Smita. Yeah.
Absolutely. And then getting married to somebody who is
yes,
absolutely from a different community. So how was that, Farah? If you don't mind answering that.
Not at all. So Smita, being a Muslim and becoming a pilot was not a big challenge. Get one more feather in my crown or whatever you want to say. Or another big step in my life was getting married to a Hindu. For me, the biggest question was, like my parents knew, My husband Srirang's parents knew about it. But all I knew throughout our life, mom and dad always wanted us to have a conversation about something which we are doing in our life. And if we don't have that voice, then they will not speak on that topic, but they'll give you enough hints that, it's time we sit and talk about it. I was so worried, and I feel everything in everyone's life, it has a time. And during the specific time, you come to know this is the time for you to talk about something or get married or, have kids. So I feel anything you do in your life, it is time-based and that particular day-based, which you feel, you get those vibes that, yes, today is the day and you should do this. I was a little skeptical about talking to my parents, but then I knew I had to talk. Initially, I was 24 when the topic came out, where mom and dad said, you're settled in Jet Airways. It's been quite some time since 98. Now we need to talk about your marriage. And they asked me directly, do you have someone in your mind? Oh my God, I didn't have the guts of telling them, yes, I do. I was like, no, not at all. They said, oh, good. Then let us, start getting proposals for you. I was like, no, don't be in a hurry. I want to settle down more. Like I was a co-pilot. I put them a condition, let me become a captain. So they're like, okay, but how long? Captain means the company's requirements and there are other things which are to be met. So they didn't know how long it's going to take. But nevertheless, they said, okay, fine, we'll wait. At the age of 25, again, they both approached me. They said, do you have someone? Like they know about it. And I was like, I know you know about it, so why don't you talk? Because I don't want to start the conversations with them. It was so awkward. I didn't know how to put before them. I didn't know whether I'll hurt their feelings, Though I knew religion was never a barrier. We always have been grown up amongst people of different religions, and we celebrated all the festivals back home as well. So I knew religion is not a factor, but when it came to this personal aspect, I thought probably it is a factor. It took me some time. Finally, one day, mom said, Farah, you're 26 now and we have decided to get you married. That's the time I said, yeah, I have someone. She says, no, we just want you to talk about him. Both of them, they spoke with me and they said, all we expect from Srirang, he being a Hindu and he belongs to a staunch Hindu culture, a very traditional family. So they told, when Srirang was called to our place for the first time, all they told him, we don't want anything because we have given our daughter whatever happiness and whatever leisure she wanted in her life. But we want that respect and your bond, the companionship of understanding each other, nothing more than that. And Srirang still had tears, when he talks about this topic, he gets teary discussing this, that how my parents accepted him. Now it was my turn to come to their house and meet his parents. Oh my God, I don't know what was going on, Smita. I was like, gosh, how am I going to face this? It was easy to say, yes, I have come and meet your parents and all, but I didn't know. When you mingle around people for just, functions and parties or get together, it's different. You don't look at that aspect of that person is a different background or religion or caste. It's just you mingle around without knowing these factors. Now coming to them, that factor was the biggest challenge for me, that, oh my God, how are they going to react? I don't know. Though Srirang had spoken a lot about them. We met, but I was like, Mom, just give you one advice. She said, Farah, be what you are. Don't try to change yourself, your identity. Be what you are. And I was a powerful advice with her. I was so much at ease. I said, okay. She said, whatever they decide, don't change yourself. Let them accept the way you are, or let them say otherwise, that's fine. And it was a game changer, yeah. They loved me after I spoke to them and all. They were really proud of me. They had a different perspective of belonging to this religion as a Muslim. But after meeting me, they said, you have changed our perspective about people, especially of your religion and your background. So yeah, it went well. We met with each other's families and they both appreciate, they made me, feel at comfort by not only not changing my name, which is a tradition in apparently the Hindus family, but even accepting me the way I am. There were no restrictions, nothing at all. So I think I'm blessed, and I'm very, very happy that, you know, I can encourage other people and help, like down the line, like today also, if people call me, they call me like, how did you manage? And can you give us tips? There are challenges, Smita. There are a lot of differences happening, still going on, but you know, you can move ahead still with life. You can leave it on the side. Unless you take that package and parcel, I mean, then you think it is something big happening in your life, then you will dwell into your sadness and depression and all. But I like to, whatever the differences are, whatever the clashes are, I don't get too much, you know, argumental into it. I keep those topics aside, and I try to be the silent observer rather than speaking and coming out with.
Amazing journey, Farah. I've heard this many a time because I do a lot of gender sensitization program saying women can't drive. And I have a woman who flies. So what do you have to say about that?
You know, for me, the irony is, Smita, yes, forget about driving. We have reached a phase in the world where women have progressed so far. You can fly, you can go to the moon, you're astronauts, you know, you are being visible and seen and accepted in all different fields, which are apart from the conventional fields. Statistically, when you look at the global proportions of fatalities, accidents, or, you know, driving hazards and all are created by men, not by women. But it's very simple to say, you know, when you're driving, if someone makes a mistake and all, and you hear this quite commonly that, oh, it must be a woman. Now this has become like a custom, and people need to get over it. They need to stop saying these negative remarks and all, because you have your wife, your daughter, you know, your mother, everyone, you know, in the same box, you know, you're getting them in the same box. So I believe, you know, we should get rid of this saying as well. It shouldn't be a part, or it shouldn't be there published anywhere in the articles or whatever you say. It shouldn't come to anyone's mind also, this statement specifically.
When you were the pilot and your co-pilot was a man, did you get those stares saying, oh my God?
When I learned about the culture of flying and, you know, aviation, when you talk about gender discrimination or gender diversity, it is a big problem in aviation. Now, as per ITA, which is International Air Transport Association, the proportion of women occupying or holding C-level positions in aviation industry globally, you know, it's just 3%, and that of female pilots is just 6%. So you can see those, you know, massive disproportionate balances or imbalances. The reason being the impact, what is causing a woman not to progress in aviation is gender stereotypes. When you talk about ethics or, for example, like when you talk about care or empathy or nurture, it is being addressed to as feminine traits. But when you talk of confidence, competition, and assertiveness, why is it been believed to be viewed only as masculine traits? So we need to get rid of these factors. For me, when I read about all what happens in aviation, it was very important for me that I am very proud of being a woman. I don't want to change and become a man just because I'm in a male-dominated or masculine discourse field industry. I want to remain a woman, and I want to carry on, but because what matters at the end of the day is the aircraft does not know whether a female or a male is flying the aircraft. It is about your procedures, your standards, your safety levels, everything combined together, where you can deliver your passengers safely from one place to another. That's what matters in aviation. When I got myself to a level, you know, I was already a person who spoke very less, because I loved listening to people, and I loved listening to their point of view. And to our dismay, yes, there was quite a lot of gender stereotypes who were present in the industry. So now, how do you carry yourself was very important for me. I inculcated and I imbibed myself complete knowledge of aviation, of flying, of discipline, and I kept that standard going on till date, Smita. So when somebody's flying with me, like I was a trainer when I was out of jet, when things went down with jet. Yeah, I'm still a trainer. People who come and fly with me, they have to keep a remark that you're flying with Captain Farah. They don't consider, you know, you're flying with a female, but you're flying with Captain Farah, and she's very particular about how you manage your flight. You need to be prepared with the procedures, the standards, and the safety levels. Like, you need to have the basic knowledge, and you need to carry out diligently and with a lot of sincerity. So while flying, I was a person who was very particular about everything and very serious about my work. Carried it with a lot of elegance, Smita. I didn't wanted any fingers to be pointed saying that there was certain lapse or something. No. At the end of the day, I said, when I do something, I want to do it to my level of perfection. And rest is, yes, whatever happens, it happens. So people used to keep a track that when if you're flying with Captain Farah, you better, so these factors, they didn't affect, yeah, they were uncomfortable, having a lady who's outperforming you rather. As a male, they have been outnumbered, they've been outperformed because of the performance of the lady pilot. It puts them in a corner and an edge where they forget about the gender, but they remember that they better be in power and, follow us through and lead us. Like, we are the leaders, but they better lead us in a good way. So everything remains aside.
Any specific story you can remember where you felt discriminated? You thought that this is not the right way to do?
When I used to, yes, Smita, when I used to do the checks of expats, especially, first of all, the generation gap used to be vast. Secondly, they don't belong to your country. Third, yes, the language spoken was different. Though English is the first language in aviation, you have to have certain level. Otherwise, you're not qualified to become a pilot. And the most important factor was they have come from a country where they didn't have female dominant position holders. So when I was doing their checks, and most of the time, the company used to put me along with them, or them along, the other way around. They used to put them with me, knowing that, I'm not bothered. I've never raised a query on this aspect, that why are you giving me expats? Whereas people have refused to do checks of expats because of whatever reasons they had. But for me, it didn't matter whether it was an ab initio training, or I'm doing off a highly qualified examiner or expat who's come from other country. To begin with, they used to show reluctance to what I'm trying to tell them. It was like, they did show the discrimination, which was visible on their face, that they don't want to accept commands from a lady pilot. But that didn't deter my respect or my way of handling and doing things in the aircraft. No matter what it was visible on their face. So no matter what the expressions was, I still continued to be what I am. At the end of the flight, it did change their perspective that she knows her stuff very well. And they did show a lot of respect then. So the beginning part, developing that rapport part, and they accepting that a female lady pilot can be a trainer, and a damn good trainer, I have never ever said no to anything. No matter what the circumstances were, like a lot of things we have, every 6 months we have our checks and our trainings and all, medicals, whatever it is, or you are under assessment. Whenever people have planned me, my departments, I've never told them, what, I don't, this, you're putting me with this person. Oh my God, no, I shouldn't. I've never done that. I've always said, okay, even if like after my dad expired, it was very challenging for me to get back to work. And I remember our department called up the training department saying that, ma'am, your license will expire if we don't put you in simulator right away. And I was not in a condition to even go out of the house. And I thought flying in a simulator, it was a simulator. So I said, how will I manage? Simulator, you require certain level of skills, Smita, to show that you are, totally in tune with the new procedures, and it keeps changing every time. And you have to show your skills during this simulator sessions. That's where you're being judged. I was called for this, and I was like, how am I going to do? Like that, the question rose in my mind because it was totally emotional. I don't know what to say. Yeah, it was drowning phase for me, losing my dad. That came to me as a shock. But I was so unstable that time. But I decided, fine, the company has a problem. I went. I don't know how I managed, but I did. And I'm really proud to speak about it, because when I go back to what I was facing, this is like, yeah, what you talk about diversity and inclusive, which is a very, very important topic in any industries. Like, yeah, you see the person, but you cannot judge what's actually going in the person, what is reflected may be something very different. And that's where this culture helps you a lot and all. So yeah.
Farah, I heard you saying that, I have done that. I have pushed myself beyond my comfort zone. Have you failed doing that?
Yes, I have. But I don't talk much about failures because when I have stumbled, and I've stumbled very badly, and I know the reasons, Smita. Like I told you, I never say no when I've been called for certain flights or certain checks which are unplanned. I never say no. So when these things happen and I have gone ahead, I have failed, I've come back, but I've not thought about why did I fail. I knew the circumstances were not permitting me. I had the mental clog which was happening, and it was giving me a brain fog. It was freezing my thinking capabilities. But the person who was doing the check didn't know about it. So yes, I did have quite a lot of failures in my life. But Dad was the biggest support, for what he's always taught us, and he's always spoken both parents, is look at it, what you've learned from it. Like nobody would think of doing something what you have done. So you have pushed yourself beyond your comfort zone. You've gone somewhere. Yes, you have stumbled, and that's the way you've learned. Like today, whatever I am, the courage and the confidence I have, Smita, is because I've learned from it. You don't learn from success. It ends there. When you reach certain place, it ends there. But when you stumble, you want to get up and go ahead, then you realize, yeah, these chapters are needed in your life. It's like, in the company, I really feel they should have a management team and, get into the training zone for all the employees where they know how to handle disruptions rather than being yourself disrupted.
Yeah, take it as a part outside of you, but not within you.
Absolutely, yeah.
So one question that has been, on my mind for a really long time. See, you are in a very difficult kind of job. You are not in a 9 to 6 job where you go and leave in the morning and come back in the evening and take care of your house. But you might go for weeks, a week, 2 days. I don't know how many days you would go on a flight. How did you manage kids? You have 2 young kids. So work-life balance. So what is your message to women in difficult kind of jobs where they have to manage their home responsibilities and love? I see the passion about your job that you have. How do you strike that balance?
You have so many responsibilities on your shoulder that you need to come out yourself with a strategy where you can take that burden off the shoulder. And only way to do that is you have to have a support system. Whether it's taking help from a neighbor, your family. Lucky for me, I stay in a city where my mom is, at stone's throw away distance. So I can leave the kids. And I have my in-laws staying with us right 1 floor below. Though I don't want to trouble them in case of emergencies where I was called last minute, there were disruptions and I was called as a captain. I did request them to take care of the kids. Or else you get any help, whoever, your neighbors, your friends. It's beautiful. We don't, expand our resources. We just think that I don't have my family. How do I move ahead? No, you can take help of your friends. My friends have helped me. Neighbors have helped me. You can have, you have work staff at home. They will definitely go out of their way to help you. So everything together, for me, it was not 9 to 6 or a 9 to 5 job. The biggest challenge was this irregular flight schedules. After being in the company for such a long time and, establishing myself as someone whom they treat with a lot of respect and dignity, the department used to help us with bit of our request, like after the kids were born. It was a big help from my side to them too. I volunteered to do all night flights. So it was like a whole night you're flying. Maybe you leave at 6 o'clock in the evening, you have the whole night flight. You return back at 6 o'clock in the morning. Then you have the whole day. So I have to manage the schools of both the kids together. Then catch up with sleep in the afternoon where you have to. And the next day you're back to your flying schedules, or if you leave for days, like we had patterns beginning from 1 day to a weeks away from home, that time, yeah, you have to have the support system, or you have to come out with a solution. Only way possible is you sit down with your family members, tell them this is what you're doing, and you have to have that conversation with them so that they know it's not a burden or a responsibility you're leaving behind. They should accept it willingly. They should be happy to give you a helping hand. And at the same time, they should be proud of what you're doing. This won't happen unless a woman, has her voice and speaks to whoever she has around her as helping hands. And it does make a lot of difference. Yeah.
So what I hear from you is call out for your support system. You have open conversations with your family. If you have the passion for the job, you are not going to quit. Any important message from you for the viewers who could be women who are in these powerful jobs which are dominated by men, okay, for organizations which can help create a conducive environment for their people? So key messages for these three groups, if you can tell us.
I would start with the organizations. I think as we talk about diversity and inclusion, it has to be a part of the company. Like, you can't have a company without this, and it has to be a package of, you cannot have just diversity and no inclusion. So I think it has to be there as a top agenda for any company to manage with their employees. Because, especially our country, when we come from a country which is known as the land of diversity, which means, unity in people, this should be the first agenda of any organization, industry, company, whichever you name it. And it should be so strongly supported because it fosters, inclusion and cohesive environment amongst employees. And the magic happens there, where people work together, they contribute so much of their knowledge. And at the end is this diversity, or if you talk about diversity and inclusion, it causes a convergence to a focal point where the purpose remains singular of the company. So it works out beautifully. So please consider diversity and inclusion as part and parcel of your organization. Second message to everyone, especially about women, I feel the progress of a nation and in overall the progress of the universe, the globe, it depends on educating a woman. It should not be considered as an option. It is the birthright of a woman to get educated and move ahead with her life, or to decide whether she should stop after getting married or she should move ahead with her career. It should not be enforced on her by implementing certain stringent boundaries to her. No, let her be free. That's where the progress, your economy is going to grow when you educate. The amount of girls who are missing out is like, statistically, how many? Like 15 million girls as against 10 million boys? What are we looking at? So I think, we need to come out with policies and programs which would encourage girls to move ahead so that they can enjoy their time, not only getting educated, they can have leisure times, spend time with their families and give a contribution, a massive contribution to the world. And overall message, Smita, to everyone would be a visionary. You are truly limitless and you have to be proud of who you are. You should have big dreams and set a goal in such a way that you work with a lot of passion, fierce determination and tenacity. You will be able to rise above the glass ceilings.
Truly influenced. I'm looking forward for this video. I'm going to stop. Thank you very much, Farah, for this conversation. We really enjoyed every bit of information that you shared, from your personal life to the messages that you have to a whole lot of people that you gave here. And I'm really looking forward for people to be watching it and giving us feedback. Yeah. Thank you so much.